So please welcome Karen Hanretty.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and I have to start by thanking you for my t-shirt, my 54%.org t-shirt. I love it. I'm very excited about your program that you're starting. Look forward to working with you more in the future, maybe doing some fundraisers for you here in Florida and being helpful in any way I can in really helping promote what is a fantastic organization that you've started. I'm just going to briefly share with you 3 ideas that I think we don't hear enough about in communicating the GOP message, really communicating in politics, period. First off, I just have to admit from the beginning, I am stealing all of this information. I'm just never, why reinvent the wheel? There are other people out there inventing wheels. Maybe I can take their wheels and use them for my own purposes. And having recently moved from California to Washington, D.C., which is a major life move, and I have a very patient, willing husband who said, sure, we can move across the country. It's kind of this idea of repotting yourself. And in the process, I thought, I need to figure out, here's where I am, here's where I want to be. And I think that that's really what we're here today to figure out. Here's where you are. Here's where you want to be with your 54% project. How do you communicate that? Well, there are other people who have been very successful who have done this. And I just want to take 3 principles very briefly from a book by Jack Canfield, who originally wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, but he also wrote another really interesting book that I haven't been able to put down entitled, do I have his name? No, I don't. I'm sorry. It's entitled The Success Principles, How to Get from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. And I thought a lot about that as Ann Romney, who I think might be the most beautiful potential First Lady I've ever seen, as she was speaking this morning. Where are you and where do you want to be? First off, when we're messaging the GOP, speak with impeccability. And I have to tell you, when Bora introduced herself to me this morning, from the second she started speaking, I thought, wow, this is a Republican woman who speaks with impeccability. And impeccability is not speaking with self-righteousness. It's not Al Gore lecturing you about penguins and polar bears and melting ice caps. It is speaking with purpose, and it's speaking with integrity, and it's speaking with intention. And I thought, wow, Bora is the perfect example, and I haven't met the other panelists, but what an example of someone who really speaks with purpose and integrity. And as you're delivering your GOP message and you're thinking about what you want to convey, always ask yourself, am I speaking with purpose and integrity? Because I think that is what is really lacking in politics today, in our discourse. And I fully admit, when I'm on Hanretty and Combs, am I always speaking with integrity? No. It's, sometimes you're just, depends on your audience, going after Bob Beckel and Alan Combs isn't always conducive to integrity, I will admit that. But for the most part, you're probably not going to be in that situation. And when you're communicating, that's always a great principle to keep in mind. Secondly, and particularly for women, be clear why you're here. It's not, I know that you have a sheet that you're sending out and you're trying to get people to go to the website and asking women, what do you care about? Once you figure out what those 2-3 issues, maybe 4 issues are, that the 54% project and your organization are going to be talking about, be really clear why you're here. Is it just education, or is it perhaps the dismal state of public education in America, high dropout rates, and children graduating with a high school degree who aren't competitive with the rest of the world? Really drill down, and I've been thinking about this more and more. What matters most in my life, in my relationships, or in politics? Drill down, be precise, let people know why you're here. Let candidates know specifically what you care about so that they can answer your specific needs. If it's your wedding anniversary and you tell your husband, boy, I'd really like you to do something romantic for me, and he takes you to a steak dinner at a sports club and buys you dessert and thinks, I really came through this time, you're probably not happy. But if you told your husband, listen, I'd really like to do something romantic. It's our 10-year, it's our 25-year anniversary. It would be really nice if we could go out of town, and I'd like to go to, here's the city I'd really like to go to. Drill down, be specific, and you will get what you want, and you will be satisfied in the end. So I think increasingly, or more importantly, women really need to be specific. Instead of saying, well, I'd really like to know where you stand on national security or health care, really be specific. I'd like to know where you stand on federal funding or state funding for embryonic stem cell research. And if we learned anything from the lunch address today, specifics matter. Because when we're not specific, we lose. And coming from the state of California, we lost big on embryonic stem cell research. They passed a $3 billion bond, which will cost probably 2-3 times that amount over the life of the bond to the taxpayers of California to fund embryonic stem cell research. Why? Because the facts weren't out there and because the right side wasn't specific enough. And then finally, transcend your limiting beliefs. What you are embarking upon is huge. But there will be people who would tell you, it's been tried before. I sat in the car for an hour one day with a Republican consultant, and I was griping to him, and I said, you know what? Your campaign needs to take women more seriously. You appoint us to these different commissions, and you put us in t-shirts, and you have us go to your events, you have us hold signs. You don't really take us seriously. You don't take our issues seriously, and you don't really actually ask for our opinions. And he said, Karen, we can win with or without your vote. And I said, really? Well, there are more of us than there are of you. And he said, well, past elections prove it. And I thought, I'm not going to let him stop me. I'll tell you what, I was pretty mad for a couple hours. But Reagan said, America is too great for small dreams. That man had small dreams of America, very small dreams of America. The GOP is not doing so well right now. So, if we're going to have bigger dreams for America, we're going to have to transcend the beliefs and the negative opinions of other people who really don't believe it can be done. Dream big, believe big, and go out there and persevere and make a difference. And I'm going to wrap it up with that, but those are just some, I think, concepts and principles we need to be thinking about as we are developing the GOP message in order to win back those disenfranchised voters, independents, conservative Democrats, or Republicans who just got so frustrated in the last election, they sat out and they just didn't vote for us. We can't afford another repeat of that.